And we are back, episode 33 of Journey to a Million. More fantasy football positional previews here on the podcast. Today we are bringing you our tight end preview on the episode. We have Kyle Dozier from the Fantasy Football Network joining the full Journey Million squad. Myself, Drew Skyberg, Jared Vleski, and Zack Roush. So before we start here, Kyle, how are you doing on this Friday morning?
I'm doing great, man. I'm ready to talk tight ends. It's funny, we were laughing beforehand about the pronunciation of my name, but it sounds like your cohorts here have some difficult last names to pronounce too, so you're used to it, yeah?
Yeah, it happens, and but we've been friends forever, so that's it works out just fine. And yeah, we have 5 tight ends we'll talk about, and then we're gonna do our bold takes like last week. Hopefully, we don't have them too hot because the Zoom chat it was on fire last week when things came out of Jared and Zach's mouths, especially. But the 5 guys we got today, we got Mo Alley Cox from the Indianapolis Colts, Jared's Colts, I should add. Gerald Everett, then of the Chargers. Albert O, we were going to be saying today, unless, Zach, you want to take a stab at the pronunciation here? Okay.
Wabunam.
There you go. We'll take it. Robert Tonyan of the Green Bay Packers also will be talked about. And then Cameron Brate as well from the Buccaneers. There's your 5. And then we will also be doing our hot take, like I said. Let's get into it, though, right away here. Jared, we'll start with your guy here, Mo Alley Cox. And look, with Mo Alley Cox, it's an interesting story here, right, in 2022. Because looking at the numbers and stuff, is he going to be like a top 12 tight end in terms of draft? Like ADP-wise, I mean, right now it looks like he's going to be a stream option just based on where he is landing right now. Zach, you got those ADP numbers up right away?
I do. He's going at tight end 36. So that's most leagues that's not even getting drafted. So he can be somebody that you pick up after the draft. Like you said, streamer.
Yeah, it's right now he's going really low, and my ADP numbers say 31. But basically, we're looking streaming out. I mean, there's some upside there. And the big thing, of course, that's attractive with him, right? Last year, 2.6 targets a game, right? Terrible numbers. But you have to think about the competition. Jared, I know you could speak upon this. And now the quarterback change, right? Matt Ryan is going to be a lot better. But Jared, we'll go to you, being the Colts fan. Mo Alley Cox, I mean, you were the one who kind of brought him up here. What was the reasoning? And let's hear kind of your take on it.
I just think it'll be kind of interesting. Last year, he kind of played back, or kind of split with Jack Doyle. And now Jack Doyle retired, so he's kind of the sole back there. But then they did draft Jelani Woods, who will be their backup or maybe their third string this year, because they do have Kylan Granson as well, who kind of came out last year as he got some snaps. You said it, Drew. I mean, they got Matt Ryan, so there's going to be a lot of improvement on that team passing the ball. So, Michael Pittman's there, but then their second option is going to be Mo Alley Cox, unless like Paris Campbell or Alec Pierce, has a great year. It's not going to be 2.4 like last year or 2.6, whatever you said. It's probably going to be 4, 5, 6 targets a game, which it'll be up there, but I don't think that he'll be a top 20, whatever tight end this year. But I think that he'll make some improvements, and we'll see that fantasy-wise and just performance-wise.
Yeah, Kyle, do you see, with Mo Alley Cox? I know you're talking before. What do you think here for Mo Alley Cox?
I think he could start out as a pretty good streaming option early, but I really think Jelani will kind of start eating into that and splitting. I think you'll end up with Alley Cox and Woods instead of Alley Cox and Doyle this year. Jelani Woods set the combine on fire. The dude's a monster. He's 6'7". Like, he's going to be an amazing red zone target. I know we've seen all about Alec Pierce in the red zone during camp and whatnot, but I don't know. I think Jelani Wood starts to make his way onto the field sooner rather than later.
I want to add, though, quickly here with you, Kyle, with what you mentioned, the streaming options. Week 1, Texans. Week 2, Jaguars. I mean, talk about perfect streaming options. There's some great upside there. Zach, Mo Alley Cox, I mean, we mentioned the ranges here. Still, I don't know if you'd want to take a flyer, right? Tight end premium leagues are still like, those are a thing where tight ends are, some leagues have it where you need 2 tight ends or whatever. I guess where do you see Mo Alley Cox's value other than streaming?
Yeah, I think if he does take a lot of the red zone targets early in the season, he might be kind of a every week type value if you're looking at that touchdown upside. But kind of as Kyle said, I think Jelani Woods is going to be taking more and more of the targets and snaps as the season goes on.
So it looks like Mo Alley Cox shared. Not a guy maybe, but I know you think with them maybe upside could be second in the team in targets for the first few weeks, but do you think Jelani Woods is just going to take it?
Oh yeah, I think that after he gets a few weeks under him, I think they'll test the waters with Cox and Woods, and then Jelani Woods will see the brunt of the targets towards the second half of the season, if not early or late in the first half as well.
Yeah, and that wraps up there. I mean, with our talk for Mo Alley Cox, let's go to, probably, I hate to speak for you, Zach, but Gerald Everett is the guy we're going to be talking about. You are basically a Chargers fan, so might as well add that to your resume. Look, Gerald Everett, everyone's over this one where they're saying he's going to have a breakout season, which at that point, I'm just fine with it. I'm all for Gerald Everett being in that offense there with the Chargers. Everyone, like I said, calling it a career season in the making before it even happens right now as he's replacing Jared Cook last year. And, Jared Cook he was okay, right? I mean, Everett's certainly an upgrade in that position. And Everett right now, he finished middle of the pack, I believe, last year in points for tight ends, points per game. So, solid guy, but some people are saying, right, top 10 upside there, at least for a guy like that. Is that kind of what you're seeing there, Kyle?
Top 10 seems a little high. I do like him in that offense, but I mean, Jared Cook wasn't super productive, I wouldn't say, last year. He is an upgrade, but top 10 seems a little bit high. I think he'll be a better option than Mo Alley
Jared Cook
Cox.
Jared Cook was 10 and 15 last year for the Chargers. So overall fantasy wise.
Yeah, so I mean, I know top 10, but I'm saying that's kind of what people are saying, like his breakout could poise him for. I'm with you. I certainly think he could be one of the 12 best tight ends in the league. I think he could be tight end one for a squad. If I'm being crazy, I think that's pretty accurate spot there for him.
If your typical strategy is to wait on a tight end, he's a great target.
Yeah, the strategy I actually want to talk about in this episode, great or late. I think that is how you should roll this. So, I mean, if you notice here, we're not talking about the great guys. We're talking about the late guys in this episode, and that was by design here to give you guys the edge in terms of if you don't want to go great because you're going to have to pay the price to go great with guys, right? Kelsey, Andrews.
I usually do.
But it might pay off for you depending on the value you get. But, we're talking about the late guys here. Zach, I'll let you talk about your guy here, Gerald Everett.
Yeah, contrary to what Kyle said, I think he does have top 10 upside, not very high into the top 10, but I think we could see him as kind of an 8 or 9 tight end. Like I said, Jared Cook finishes tight end 15, and I think Cook 34 years old last year, so he was getting up there towards the end of his career. And Everett's shown the ability back when he was in Seattle and with the Rams that he has the ability to produce fantasy-wise. He just needs to show a little bit more consistency, and we could see that with him receiving more targets this year than he has in the past.
Which I think that's certainly in the realm of possibilities. I think look at the offense he was with last year, right? I mean, he was in basically, Geno Smith's offense for a little bit there. I know Russell Wilson, right? But injury-wise, just looking at it, and look, Seattle likes to run the ball too. So, I mean, now I think in a pass-heavy Los Angeles Chargers offense, I think this is going to be, my whole thing with it where it gets tough, which I want to bring this argument up, is how many times do you see, right, two receivers with 1,000+ yard upside have a tight end who also, goes in there and delivers maybe a 700-yard season? I just that's kind of where, in my case against Everett, is like, okay, well, you already got guys like Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, who are gonna, who have the upside. I mean, I certainly think in next year, I think they're gonna both finish over 1,000 yards. I guess how is that gonna affect Gerald Everett? I mean, you can only throw the ball so much. Austin Eckler's still there too. Don't forget that. I mean, how do you approach that, Jared?
I think that like you said, I think that they're going to use his like the Mike Williams, Keenan Allen. They're going to get all the yards, and I think they're going to be the big fantasy values. But I do see if it's not Eckler running in the red zone, running in the touchdown, I think they might use Gerald Everett as just the tight end, the touchdown back, touchdown receiver who could just throw it to him, ISO 1-on-1, and he racks up his points there. Because I kind of agree with you there. Like it's hard to split yards that much if you do have 2,000-yard receivers in Allen and Williams. So I think that he might get most of his value there. But I do think his value will go up. And I think people that are saying he's going to have a breakout season, I mean, they have proof to like go by because obviously you're going to the Chargers with Justin Herbert and a stacked offense, pass heavy, like you said. So I think that the hype is there. I just don't think he'll live 100% up to what he's expected.
Yeah, I'm going to ask before we move on here, Kyle, where do you have Gerald Everett in your tight end rankings? Do you have him in like teens? Where do you got him?
Yeah, I'd maybe slide him in 12 to 15 somewhere. Like, I mean, he's close to the top 10, but I don't think when I look at the other names ahead of him, I can't quite slide him into that top 10 because I do think we'll see, like Jared was saying, you'll see a lot maybe in the red zone, but maybe not between the 20s so much. And then Donald Parham might slide in there and catch a TD here and there instead of Everett because that dude's like 6'8", and Everett's only like 6'3". Maybe they'll utilize that mismatch more in the end zone. You don't know. We don't know yet. But another one that would be really, really great if you're waiting with a lot of upside.
Yeah, exactly. And, a guy who I'd say is kind of in a similar situation, kind of not, Alberto, is kind of in it because, right, I mean, the argument for him, which is, look, Noah Fant gets traded to Seattle, and the Denver front office, including Noah Fant in a package, I think just kind of shows, they're ready. I mean, Alberto, they think he's proven and he's ready, but I still know we don't even know if he's going to beat Greg Dulcich out of camp, do we? I mean, we think he is, right? I don't know if reports have really indicated yet if he is that guy yet, but look, with Alberto, he's more of a sleeper guy right now, I'd say, and just with him being just a physical like freak, I think that's kind of where the attraction right in the red zone, end zone, all that good stuff. But I'll go to you, Zach, to start. Alberto, do you see him more than just kind of like this late round sleeper guy who's a streamer? What do you see potentially for him?
I think he has a lot of potential. I was kind of going back to look at how Russell Wilson has utilized tight ends in the past. I didn't look at last year just because of the injury, and then 2020, the Seahawks had like 3 or 4 tight ends they utilized. So when I went back to 2019, Will Dissly averaged 14.7 points per game in weeks 1 through 5, and then he tore his Achilles. And after that, they had Jacob Hollister, who got 10 points a game. So I think if you're looking at that, you can see that Wilson, he can produce fantasy relevant tight ends, and he does use his tight ends. So I think the new quarterback isn't really a situation you should be worried about. I think it's more, as you mentioned, the competition with Greg Dulcich.
I have no idea how to pronounce that name.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Didn't they have Jimmy Graham too before? Was that 2017 on the Seahawks?
They did. Yeah, they grabbed in the past.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's hear you, Jared. Let's kind of hear your thoughts.
I mean, fantasy wise, I don't like taking someone like this. We saw that with Saquon kind of. It's kind of like he's a built guy. I'm so muscular. He can easily, get the fantasy value, but then he gets hurt and nothing out of him the next few years. I just see he's not proven. Although Russ, new quarterback, improvements, value goes up. I get all that, but I don't like taking, unless it's a dynasty league, I don't like taking someone who's not really put the stats out there yet, doesn't get the points. It's just going to be risky for me to pick this guy. And depending on where he's going amongst like other tight ends, I would probably try to avoid him maybe a little bit just because I don't really see his upside as of now, but maybe that's just me. I don't know.
He's currently going as tight end 18. So I think it's kind of a low risk, high reward situation, just where he's going.
He's a guy in best ball where I'd be looking at him. I'm taking 2 tight ends to maybe take a safe pick, right? If I go great, he might be my late guy. I think is a fair way to assess it. Kyle, you with Alberto, where are you looking? Are you looking kind of where we are in that as a kind of a value play there?
Yeah, I don't want him as my number one, but I'd feel pretty good about him as my number two. I like him better than the last couple guys we talked about. They were talking up as recently as I think it was yesterday. I saw a report saying that they were talking up Dulcich, or however you pronounce it, and saying that they could end up splitting. I don't think we'll see as much of that split there. I mean, you got to remember this guy finished pretty well. I can't find the ranking, but like he was in the teens in points per game while sharing with Noah Fant with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback last year. So, I mean, we say he's not proven, but he kind of is a little bit. I mean, he was a rookie last year, so it's I think he's got a pretty good chance. I think he'll win the camp battle with Dulcich, and I think he'll be their starter for the year. My biggest issue with him is not that competition, but just the overall competition for targets.
Exactly.
Javonte Williams, Tim Patrick, Sutton, Judy. My God, like you're going to have one that pops off every week, and you're never going to know who it is.
Yeah, that's my thing too. I also want to bring up here, right? Nathaniel Hacker coming in, right? New first year coach. I mean, we saw him with the Packers. Working as the offensive coordinator, right? I mean, we saw Robert Tonyan be utilized a lot, which is also a guy we're talking about in the red zone. I mean, that's hopefully kind of his case here. But Tim Patrick is kind of the other guy, right? Tim Patrick, 6'4", another athletic freak. I think he might be the red zone target there. That's where I'm not sure here how he's going to be used, but he certainly has the upside to be kind of that red zone target, I think, with Russell Wilson. But if you guys have anything,
this is something that we'll be able to see a little bit in preseason games. We're going to see kind of how they used him.
Yeah, and especially in the regular season too. I'm hoping that like a lot of our questions will be answered. It's hard in the first week. I mean, not to say like a first week means everything, right? I mean, there's some things that you can totally change throughout the season, but a lot of questions just be answered. We watch a regular season game, we can kind of see what we see in week one, maybe even a little longer, right? Of course. But I mean, with that, we'll wrap up here from Albert. Let's go to Cameron Braid. So this is interesting story, right? We're really talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers tight end situation. So with Rob Gronkowski, right? He's retired, and he said he's not coming back and such, but then reports came out.
I believe him this time. I do.
You do believe him because there's reports coming that maybe he's not done, and so now there's contradicting reports. So keep that in mind. But Cameron Braid is the guy we're talking about right now, the 31-year-old tight end here. And the story right now, fantasy outlook, right? He's still he's on top of the depth chart I want to bring up, but the guy is rookie Cade Otton, which is funny because a report came out from The Athletic, right? And what happened was that Cade Otton was supposedly going to be the lead guy or something. And on fantasy football, like all fantasy football platforms, when this report came out, Cade Otton, his ads shot up. It was incredible. I mean, on Sleeper, for example, I think it was only almost over 10,000. It was ridiculous. So the Cade Otton hype train is there. Are you guys buying it? Anyone can take this question.
I am.
Yeah.
I prefer Otton to Braid. He's a better receiver and he's a better blocker. I think that'll get him on the field quicker. And I don't know if it'll be week one, but it certainly won't take long. I think Braid loses work to Otton a whole lot faster than Ali Cox loses work to Jelani Woods.
I mean, it's Zach. Where are you going? Because I mean, I believe you're the guy who wanted to talk about Cameron Braid. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was kind of be interesting to talk about the Buccaneers tight end room in general with Gronk retiring. But yeah, I'm not really high on Braid either. I think he could definitely lose work. They do still have OJ Howard too, he's not gonna take as much work as Otton maybe, but he's gonna take a few receptions as well.
OJ Howard isn't he on the Bills right now?
He's with the Bills now.
He's gone?
Yeah, OJ Howard is with the
Bills. Shoot.
So No, but with let's go to some ADP here. The big thing is Cameron Brate right now is going as tight end 20. He's going as high as 17, as tight end 17. And I want to bring this up because the guys who are going behind him, listen to this. Evan Ingram, which is kind of an interesting candidate. He's more of a boomer bust guy. We're not going to be talking about him in the episode unless someone has a bold take about him. Also, Gerald Everett's going as tight end 22. And then other guys, we mentioned Ali Cox going 31. Brevin Jordan at 28. Is there any of those guys you'd rather take there over Braid? I mean, it sounds like most of them here for me, at least. I mean, Everett, I'd rather take
all of
Ingram.
Them, plus Otten, I'd take over Braid.
Kate Otten, Dynasty.
I would probably say all except for Mo Ali Cox, just because I'm a Colts fan. I'm saying that, but
yeah.
With Taysom Hill, tight end 29. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if anyone else has anything, with Cameron Brate in this tight end room, all right. I mean, Kate Otten is kind of the guy. Is more of a dynasty stash, guys, where I'm looking.
Yeah, I mean, dynasty, you're not looking obviously for Brate. He's 31, getting old, but Kate Otten for sure. My whole thing is you still have Tom Brady, so he's gonna get targets, but it's not gonna be, as much as guys like Godwin and Evans and Otten's gonna be their future. So.
Well, and he's no Gronk.
Exactly.
If you're looking for Gronk numbers, you're gonna be disappointed.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to go great, not late there for that. But let's go to our next guy here. Robert Tonyan is. This is one we're looking forward to talk about, at least Zach and I as Packer fans here.
No time Pro Bowler, might I add.
All right, Jared. Look,
baby Kittle.
Look, the thing with Tonyan, right? I mean, he's an electric 2020, right? 11 touchdowns, and it was just the hype train was there. 2021, his ADP, right? People were liking him as a tight end guy, kind of like even more as like a even bigger breakout guy in some aspects. Some in the industry were, and what happened was not much. He had 2 games with over 10 fantasy points, and he ended up finishing tight end 29 in fantasy points per game. I know he got hurt, right? But there's still upside there, right? Adams gone. Marquez Valdes-Scantling gone. He could end up being that lead guy in being that lead touchdown option there. Of course, the concern that is A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones. Like, there's a lot of Robert Tonyan's one of the hardest players right now to rank in fantasy, in my opinion, and it makes me struggle a lot with it. But Kyle, how would you rank this Robert Tonyan and the Packers situation?
Well, I agree. He's very hard to rank right now because if I remember right, that 11 touchdown season was pretty front loaded, wasn't it? Like, he kind of fell off towards the end of the season. But I do think you're right with, Devontae Adams being gone. I think we'll see Rodgers kind of lean on him in that red zone as far as pass catchers go. He's got Lazard and all these other guys, between the 20s, but I really think Tonyan will have his trust in that end zone just because they played a few years. Rodgers is really big on throwing to guys he trusts. And that's why I think Lazard will be better than any of, like, even, what was the rookie Watson that they drafted? I don't think he'll make a real big impact this year just because they haven't played together. There's no trust there. But Tonyan with that touchdown upside, I still can't slide him in that top 12 yet, but just under it. Probably in there around where Everett's at, 12 to 15.
Yeah, I think that's
my range.
Zach, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think I have him around that 12-15 range as well. I think the red zone targets that Adams got are going to be split up between Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, and Tonyan mostly. Obviously, we're going to see some of the receivers get a few. I think that's where most of them are going to go. So I can see him getting a lot of red zone upside, but then as Kyle said, between the 20s, he's not going to see as much work as the other receivers.
I mean, you guys said everything I was going to say. I think that my ceiling for him is top 10. And I think that is counting the facts that he stays healthy, 100%. His touchdown value is there. And like Kyle said, he doesn't fall off. And like Kyle said as well, Rodgers trusts people. He goes to people he trusts. And now with Adams not there, Lazard, Tonyan, they're going to be up there in targets. They're going to be the top 2 probably. I think that, well, besides like the running backs, if they do a little slot, whatever. But I think that Tonyan could be top 10. I don't see him going top 10. I'm saying Ceiling top 10, I'd put him at probably 15, but that's accounting that he doesn't get hurt. His touchdown value is there, and he's targeted a lot. So I think that he will end up being 15, 14 around that area, but ceiling, I have top 10 for him.
Okay, let me read some ADP here. So who would you rather have out of these three guys? Robert Tonyan, Noah Fant, Irv Smith Jr. All three, let's hear them. Kyle, we'll go to you first.
Same again. Tenyon, Irv Smith, and who?
Noah Fant, those three guys.
Give me Irv Smith.
Irv Smith. Zack?
I like the way that
I'm sorry.
offense looks to be changing going forward with the new offensive coordinator.
Okay, Zack, go to you.
I'd have to say Tan. Just I've seen him have a good season.
Jared?
I agree. I think I would go with Tonyan. I don't know why. I just like Tonyan more.
Packers homers. That's why.
I'm taking Tonyan too.
I'm a Colts fan. I'm a Colts fan.
All
I'm
right,
saying
Kyle.
Tonyan.
Yeah, but you got to
Little bit of bias.
and you got to work with me. So
Yeah.
you know.
All right, well,
No, I'm kidding.
there's our tight end talk for these five guys. And then from here, let's go to our bold takes. And let's start with you, Jared. Let's hear your hot take. If it's anything like last week, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I don't even know what's going to happen, right? I mean, everyone have their fire extinguishers ready. Jared, go.
So yeah, it might be just like last week. I'm not going as extreme to say top 5, but I say Michael Gesicki will finish as a top 7 tight end this year. Yeah. So, okay. So here's my thing. So over the last 3 seasons, he's had over 500 yards, which some people that we listed on this list, not even close to that. Okay. That's one thing. I think that his tight end or his touchdowns won't be there, but they can get a lot better. And this is someone you got to believe in. My big thing is Tyreek Hill just came there, right? Last year they had their top target was who? Devontae Parker. So I think that having Tyreek Hill there will help Gesicki tremendously. He will take up their best defender. He will probably get double covered some possessions, and that'll leave Gesicki open. I'm sure that's the same with some other teams as well. But last two seasons, he had over 700 yards, touchdowns. I think he had 2 and then 6. I think he had in 2020. I just think that having Tyreek Hill there will help his case a lot. And people that are low on Tua, I said last week I'm high on Tua, like I said with Joe Burrow. I think that Tua will have a breakout year, and he'll prove everyone wrong with Tyreek Hill. And I think that with Hill there will help Gesicki tremendously. And I think that top 7 is where he'll end. Probably at 7. When I say top 7, I don't mean 6.
Yeah.
I don't mean that. I think 7 is the highest.
Okay, what does everyone think?
Jared, I just want to say, last year he finished as tight end 11 with less competition, and you're saying he's going to move up.
Let's add Tyreek Hill and do better.
Well, yeah. I
Yeah.
think that the hype around the Dolphins this year is just, it's like, oh, well, Tua's not as good as Mahomes, and Tyreek Hill made a mistake, and they're going to probably, once Tyreek Hill has a few good games, they'll be like, okay, we need to, like they did with Mahomes. Like Kelsey thrived. I know Kelsey's a lot better than Gesicki. Don't think I'm saying anything like that, but Gesicki is going to be, I think, like amazing on this team with Tyreek Hill there. I think that Tyreek Hill will be the deep option. He'll take up some receivers, and then Gesicki will be that middle 10, 15 receiver yard catch, something like that.
Gesicki was tight end 8 in terms of targets per game. He was at 6.6. I'll add that. I think that number's going down. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think he loses a lot of targets because I think Tyreek Hill coming in will
Mike
bump
McDaniel.
Waddle to the slot a lot more, which is primarily where Gesicki played last year. And so I think Waddle ends up eating up a lot of those slot targets that Gesicki will no longer get. So, yeah, I think he does worse this year than last year.
One more thing I want to add, just watching the few Dolphin games that I've watched, Mike Gesicki has one of, if not the best hands in the league as a tight end. Like, he doesn't drop passes. He is from what I've seen, he does not drop many passes. So, I mean, every person drops passes, every receiver, every tight end, every running back, everyone. But I think Mike Gesicki, from what I've seen, he's going to make some nice catches, and he's not going to drop some easy ones like we saw George Kittle against the Packers in the playoffs, like the one that's wide open. I don't think he's going to drop any of those. And that's like me being as high as I can possibly be on Mike Gesicki. I'm kind of expecting everything to go his way this year. So
Well, assuming he does have the best hands in the league, he's still not going to have as many of those nice catches.
He's not going to get the ball. Mike McDaniel coming in, but running back by committee. Look, I mean, it's just a disaster to not get a lot of targets. Jared, appreciate your effort, but you have not convinced me. I don't think you convinced the three of us.
Well, the stats will convince you throughout the season. So
Okay,
come back
so
to this
Jared-
when he's
Jared's
I don't think they
saying-
will. I don't think they will.
I don't either.
we can all agree to disagree. Right?
Okay, Kyle, we're going to let you go next then. Let's hear yours.
Well, it's funny because I was worried mine wasn't spicy enough, and it's actually pretty close as far as the numbers go here. But I'm going to say Cole. I was going to say Cole Kmet's going to be top 8. Yeah, just ahead of both.
Who's gonna like that one?
The problem is
Dawson-
that was mine. That I actually told Zach before we recorded. I
Really?
said Cole Kmet top
did,
8.
yeah.
Book it.
Yeah, Cole Kmet top 8 ahead of
Let's do a
Goddard,
joint argument.
ahead of Goddard and Knox. Yeah,
God,
I mean, no Matt
I
Nagy,
guess I can see.
no Jimmy Graham.
So you're saying Goddard
There's-
is not top 8?
No, I don't think he is.
Goddard has the same argument as
And Knox
Gesicki
is not
against
top
him.
10. So it's kind of a 3-in-1 hot take here. But yeah, so no Matt Nagy, no Jimmy Graham, lack of receiving options, and
Matt-
Justin Fields trusts him.
Matt
So
Eberflus.
and he's a hoss. So yeah, I think Cole Kmet's top 8 this year, and I think it's pretty easy. Yeah, I think Goddard's not top 8. They add AJ Brown. They already didn't use Goddard last year like we thought they would after they got rid of Ertz.
Yeah,
It was kind of disappointing. They went run heavy and didn't quite use him the way we hoped. And now they're adding AJ Brown. I don't think that gets better. And then, same deal with Knox. Gabe Davis is going to step in there, suck in a lot of targets. Now they got James Cook in the draft to throw to. I don't see Knox getting that kind of play 2 years in a row. So Knox out of the top 10, Goddard out of the top 8, Cole Kmet. You can pin him in. Don't even have to pencil him in. Pin him into the top 8.
yeah,
You mean like 8 at 8 or top 8, like with ceiling higher?
7 or 8. I think him and Hawk will actually be pretty close.
I liked Kmet, yeah. Like I know Jared said top 7, but I like Kmet right where you have him, Kyle. I mean, you already spoke my argument, but I want to add to it, right? Sean Childs of Sports Illustrated put together a wonderful breakout piece for Cole Kmet, so I'm going to be sharing that here and giving credit here in my argument. Go check it out. It will be in the description. So thank you again to Sean Childs. And you mentioned the passing game, right? Being the second option, right? Is Byron Pringle really going to be that guy? I really think David Montgomery is going to be the second. It's going to be David Montgomery and Cole Kmet, competing for the second most receptions. That might be kind of a hot take here with Montgomery being a running back. But look, with Cole Kmet, right? Catch rate 64.5. He doubled his yards from year 1 to year or quiet rookie season, right? And he doubled it to over doubled it, I should add, 60 catches, 612 yards. I think he could command more than that. I'm thinking 800 plus yards. I think that's kind of what we could see, maybe even more there with Cole Kmet. And the targets, I mean, they were there last year even with Justin Fields, and I always like to look at that, how they were, right? Same quarterback still, different head coach, but that's always, very attractive to look at. Cole Kmet right now, I have the targets here. Hold on, where are they? But Cole Kmet is, here it is. So last, 6-7 games of the year. Week 12, 11 targets. Week 13, 7 targets. 5, 9, 5, 5, 5. And I know he was at 5.5 targets a game, which was under Jared's guy, Mike Gesicki, but the difference is Kmet's conditions improved. Gesicki's got worse. So I think that they are going to,
So I don't know if they improved. Okay.
I just said they improved.
I know. I have 2 arguments against you. Number 1, we went over this before. Matt Eberflus is their head coach, defensive minded, not going to help Justin or Fields that much, right? That's number 1. Number 2, it's Fields.
Who are they going to throw the ball to?
Who's he? He's not going to throw it to anyone. He's not a good quarterback. He's not going to be able to complete a pass. That's what I'm saying. I don't believe in Fields. He's not a good quarterback. I think Dustin said that best.
I think he'll be better long term than Tua. Maybe not there just yet, but
they're both in the same.
what have we
boat right now,
really
I think,
seen from
but-
Tua that makes you think
He's going to be able to throw the football. I mean, Darnell Mooney is still getting drafted over.
Jared, he is an NFL quarterback. He can throw a football.
Well, so is what's his name? Peterman, whatever that guy's name was. Nathan Peterman. He threw
Justin
5
Fields is a touted prospect out of college. Justin Fields is a dynasty asset. Nathan Peterman was a borderline streamer. I mean, these are different guys, Jared.
Yeah, but the Bears are just a bad team.
Yeah,
I'm not even a
bad
Packer
teams
fan.
can have bad teams
team,
can have
bad
great
quarterback. They have the worst receiving core in the league right now.
Yep, that's why Cole Kmet's going to do well because
Jared, we're
there's no
talking
receiving core.
fantasy. Yeah.
Yes, I know, but there's the reason that they have. Oh my god, I don't know. I just don't think that
to me it's a no-brainer.
You actually think it's a no-brainer?
Kmet
ahead of
versus
Goddard?
Gesicki, no-brainer.
No brainer.
100%.
Yeah.
Zach,
I'm
I'd take
not
Kmet over
drafting
Gesicki.
Gesicki this year anyway.
Okay, well you said top 8, so Cole Kmet can be 7, and then Gesicki can be 8. How about that?
Gesicki could be more like 14 or 15.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
I do. I feel very confident saying that Kmet will have double-digit touchdowns too.
Where was he last year? Does anyone have ADP on him?
Well, I can tell you where Cole Kmet's getting drafted at right now. If you're looking, Cole Kmet right now is getting drafted as tight end 13, and Mike Gesicki's getting drafted as tight end 12.
Yeah.
Well, so look at that. I mean, you
Yeah,
guys are
Jared, the
just
people are
speaking-
wrong.
You have strength in numbers right now. You have numbers against me.
Gesicki
You're making
has
me
name
feel like Gesicki
recognition.
was awful.
Gesicki has name recognition
Kmet
going for him.
finished
That's
just
it
10
at this point.
22.
Yeah, Cole Kmet's going at an awesome discount is all this means. I mean, like we better be doing our leagues early so I can get on this discount before it ends is all I'm seeing. But
Just feel like you guys, since you have 2 people that had the same take, you're kind of trying to prove your point, and I'm not really buying it because you guys are going against Gesicki so much that.
You're only
I-
disagreeing because we don't like yours.
No, I'm disagreeing because the numbers are on my side. The numbers are on my side. But
Yeah.
12 is higher than 13 in fantasy, so I think that
if we're gonna base it off
Jared,
of what
I'm gonna be
the
honest.
public is thinking, Jared,
now Zach jumps on your guys' bandwagon just to go against me because that's always what it is.
I had
No,
a 3 for those.
Jared, I don't like your take. I don't think he's gonna be better. Cole Kmet, I can get on that take a little bit, but I don't think he's gonna be top 8. I would say like that around the 10. So it's like 9 through 11, somewhere in there.
So where do you have
So
Gesicki?
I
Like
think
12?
top 8's pushing it a little bit. Yeah, I have him like that 12 through 15. I'd say like him and Everett are probably in the same.
I'm taking Everett over Gesicki. I mean, there's actually a list of guys here I'd be taking over.
That's not even close. Come on. You don't
Jared,
mean that.
I'm selling Gesicki short here. Look, I
You
mean,
are.
Yeah, Jared, you're I think
Ah.
you like Gesicki a little bit too much.
I'll give you this. I'll take Gesicki over Dawson Knox.
Okay.
I'll take him over Knox. I don't like.
So
Knox
you
at all
said
this year.
Knox
I'm not
is-
touching Knox.
You
Knox
said
is going as
just
10.
out of your top 10. You
Just
said
out of my top
right?
10. Yeah.
So you'd say Gesicki could be top 10.
Yeah, 10 to 12 in there somewhere ahead of Knox, wherever Knox ends up. I bet. Yeah, I'm not on Knox at all. I'm on him less than Gesicki, but I'm still not on Gesicki.
Let's hear yours, Zach, here to wrap up the bold takes.
So Kyle, you're probably gonna like this one. I'm gonna say Dalton Schultz repeats is a top 3 tight end for fantasy in 2022.
That was the other one I was debating
He was
saying
third.
tonight.
Yeah. He was 3rd in routes run last year and had 104 targets, which I mean, if you look at tight end numbers, that's obviously really good. And then I think he's going to see a lot more consistency. Everyone's kind of hyping up CeeDee Lamb with Amari Cooper leaving, but nobody's really talking about Dalton Schultz as much. He's borderline elite tight end, and he's getting drafted way below the guys like Mark Andrews, George Kittle, Travis Kelce. He's going a couple rounds after them, and I think he's going to see a lot more consistency with his targets this year. And as we saw last year, they use him all over the field. He had 8 touchdowns, 800 yards. So they use him between the 20s. They use him in the red zone. I think he's going to maybe improve a little bit, but I think he has a great chance to repeat the season he had last year.
Oh, I'm gonna go. I'll give you top 4. I mean, not top 4. I'll say 4 to 5 is where I'm gonna put him.
So
And-
last year, you can continue, Drew.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'm basically gonna say I'd take Pitts over him, Andrews over him, Kelce over him. Pitts is gonna still. I know quarterback situation, but I think Pitts is gonna be in the slot a lot this year. Calvin Ridley gone. I don't know. I think target share is going to be excellent for him, regardless of who is under center for the Falcons. But then also Dalton Schultz. I think he's going to have a big first few weeks of the year. I think Michael Gallup being out, I know, right? Michael Gallup being out might not be like an ultimate make or break thing, but I think that's certainly going to help his case. And I think that's going to be something we'll see at least for the first few weeks or whenever until Gallup comes back is where I'd go with it. But Jared, I'll let you talk.
So last year, I'm guessing it was Andrews and Kelsey 1, 2, and then Schultz was 3. Zach?
Yeah.
Andrews was 1, Andrew, Kelsey, then Schultz.
Then Schultz. Okay.
Yeah.
Then was like Pitts and Kittle 4 or 5, or how did that end up?
I think Pitts was 5 or 6, actually.
Hold on. I think I got it up right here.
Okay. Well, my whole thing is
Yeah, it went Schultz, Kittle, Gronk, Knox, Hunter Henry. Kyle Pitts was 9.
oh wow. Okay. Okay. So I can get behind it just because he was 3 last year and his condition did improve having Gallup out for a few games and not having Amari Cooper anymore. So I can see him maintaining that. But I think that I would say, like Drew said, probably 4 or 5. 3 seems a little high to me just because I think maybe it was a little bit of a breakout last year. I don't know. I think Andrews and Kelsey will be 1 and 2. And then I think Schultz might be, I could see him 3, but I'd say 4 is where I'd put him.
I saw you shaking your head.
More.
Well, even setting my Cowboys bias aside, I think Schultz has a better year than Pitts, and I love Pitts. I got Pitts in my dynasty league. I wouldn't sell him for anything, but I do think Schultz finishes higher than him. Even when Gallup comes back, I don't think that really hurts him that much. He was very consistent last year with Cooper. Gallup was there early. Late in the season, we saw some of these other guys, Cedric Wilson, Malik Turner, and some of those guys playing. He never wavered. So I think he'll have a very, very strong – I mean, you've seen it with this offense with Romo and now Dak. Like, tight ends just draw targets in this offense. And it was Jason Witten. Now it's Dalton Schultz. Like, he's an elite tight end. He just is. And so – yeah, I agree. He's going to be top 3.
What were you going to say, Zach?
I just want to throw one more thing out. Over the last 3 seasons, Dalton Schultz has not missed a single game. And some of the other tight ends that are going to be around the 3 to 5 range, like George Kittle, Darren Waller, we've seen them miss games multiple times. So that's another thing to factor in when you're ranking tens.
One more thing I want to throw in there is last year with Pitts, I think he was 9, obviously, because he had, I don't even know if he had a touchdown, maybe 1, 0 or 1. I know he barely had any. I think 1. He had his 1,000 yards, but if he can put up those touchdowns, his fantasy value will go a lot higher. So for now, I think Schultz will still be above him. My whole concern would be Kittle, just because he has a big name and he's going to go above Schultz in drafts, or like fantasy drafts. But I think that Schultz has the potential to
Kittle
do
has to
last
stay
year.
healthy first.
Yeah, he missed a few games last year. I'm pretty
Kittle
sure.
has to stay healthy. So.
Yeah.
So
Last 2 years, yeah.
my thing, right? If we're gonna like Dalton Schultz, right? You know, put him. If we're doing the grade or late strategy, right? Looking at tight ends. I mean, what do you guys look at when you're drafting? I know in terms of, you know, when does the grade cutoff end? I mean, I know it's based off of value, but like, right? I mean, if Dalton Schultz right now, he's going as the 66th overall player, I should say, on average, in case, you know, people aren't playing in 12-team leagues, right? But I guess, how do you value that in terms of, right, Dalton Schultz is going to be available there? Are you looking at, like, is that too late? I mean, going to pick 66, or like, is that, how do you guys analyze that if you're going to take a grade or late approach, or do you just, you know, pick best available or whatnot? What do you think, Kyle?
Well, I'm usually looking for my tight ends early. I like to have one of those elite guys. I think I'm a firm believer in an elite tight end being a difference maker on your fantasy team. But when you see the way ADPs are falling right now, you look and you go, okay, I can take Kelsey or Andrews in the 2nd round. I can get Pitts, Kittle, Waller in the 3rd or 4th, or I can wait till the 5th and get Schultz and take better guys here. Like, that's the kind of move I would make. You look for those kind of values. okay, I can get who I think will be a top 3, 2 rounds, 3 rounds later than I can get these other 2. That's going to be my strategy. Should he be drafted higher? Probably. Like if his ADP rose and you had to take him higher to make sure you got him, I'd be okay with it. But, it's definitely a strategy you can use if you draft before that ADP starts rising. The thing is, with the name recognition that the guys above him have, it probably won't raise much.
I think that's the big thing, just the name recognition. Like you said, he's not going to go in the top 3-4 rounds. What I look at when I'm drafting is I kind of want to get my receiver, one solid receiver, a solid running back, and then I'll look. I always like doing 2 receivers or 2 running backs right away, but if I see, Kelsey's gone and then you see Andrews is gone, I'll be like, okay, maybe I can stretch here and take a great tight end. But I think with the way Dalton Schultz is going right now, I think I could take 2 running backs and a receiver and then get Schultz in my 4th pick because he's not going until the 5th round. So.
A lot of ways you could go about Zach. I mean, how do you approach it? I mean, we heard your quarterback strategy last week. Let's hear your tight end one.
Yeah, kind of same as Kyle was saying. I mean, if you think he's going to be on the same level as Waller and Pitts and you can get him 2-3 rounds later, why wouldn't you do that? Right? So, I mean, I've drafted tight ends all over. I've drafted them high. I've waited until rounds 9-10 to get them. For me, it's all who's there at my pick and who do I like. I really don't have a set in stone strategy I use, I guess. It's just, I think he's a great value this year, so I have taken him in multiple mock drafts.
Yeah, and I'm looking. We're a little short on time here, so Kyle, thank you again for coming on. I want to know, where can the people find you?
We are actually on the Fantasy Football Network. We've got a website, fantasyfootball.network or fantasyfootballnetwork.com. They go to the same place. Instagram, Fantasy Football Network with underscores between the words. Come check us out. Give us a holler.
Yeah, we will be definitely shouting you out, of course, on our social medias. So Instagram, right? Drew Sports Crew is where you can find us there. And also that is our Twitter. Facebook, that is Drew's Sports Crew. And that is also our YouTube. So does anyone have anything else here before we wrap up here on this Friday morning?
Just want to thank you guys for having me on, and I look forward to doing other things in the future together for sure.
Of course. This was a lot of fun. So, yeah, thank you again, Kyle, and that'll wrap it up. So thank you all for listening to another episode of Drew's Sports Crew, the journey to $1 million, the perfect podcast for you.